Hi, welcome back to my channel, According to Kat. If you are new here, please introduce yourself in the comments below. If you're returning, just say hi. Today is a top 10. So this video is a compilation of some of my favorite thrift uplifts I've done in the past year. I've left all of the supplies in the description box below, so if you want to see what products I've used, please check that out. And with all that being said, let's get right into it.
Okay, here's DIY uplift number 1. Flower rack. So I used this magazine rack that I found at a garage sale. I think I got it for $1, and I am giving it 2 good coats of the Waverly Chalk Paint in white. A lot of people have these racks, or you can find them at pretty much any local thrift shop. They are everywhere, and yes, we can do something with these. So this is just a sign that I think I got at like a Michael's for a couple dollars, and like on a clearance rack, or you could use any piece of wood, and I just painted that with the Waverly Chalk Paint in white as well. Here I'm using some of the Waverly Chalk Paint in truffle. It's kind of like a dark brown color going around the edges to create like a border, and then I am just taking whatever's on my brush and giving a dry brush of that same truffle throughout the front of the piece. Now, wherever I felt like I got a little too heavy-handed, I went back with some white. And right now I am using my Dollar Tree stickers. They're poster stickers, and they're the letters to spell out flowers. Now, that little sticky thing that you see I'm putting them on is from one of their rulers at the Dollar Tree, and that kind of just peels right off. And that kind of helps guide me keep them straight, where I get a little OCD about it when they're like off kilter. So I'm going to show you right now how it helps me keep them straight. So I just kind of line it up with the bottom, and then I'll just pull it up a little bit, and I will just flatten them out with my fingers, and then I will carefully slide out that piece from the rulers. And then just go right back over it and smooth the letters down with my fingers. And there you go. So easily done. Now I'm taking these smaller letters from the Dollar Tree stickers, and I put fresh cut on that same piece of sticky, I don't know, what would you call that? Ruler sticker stuff. Okay, but the thing is, it was more difficult with the smaller letters because they were not sticking down when I was pulling that up. So it was a little more difficult with that, but it still worked. So right now I am putting on these 2 dots on the outside of flowers just to give it some interest. I do change those out for bigger dots that I got off of those stickers. Right now I am taking some Mod Podge matte and putting it over the entire area of the sticker space. I will tell you that Dollar Tree stickers don't stick that well, and yeah, this makes sure they stay down. Now I am distressing this flower rack. You don't have to. If you want to keep it nice, crisp white, that's fine. I am just going through and distressing some areas because I just like the look of that. So on this sign were some holders on the back, and I'm just pulling them off with my pliers. And I will right now add some E6000 right here on both sides of the front of the flower rack. And then I'm going to take my hot glue and put that on the side, because the hot glue will hold instantly when the E6000 will hold permanently. And there you go. I'm going to just lay that right on and just kind of straighten it out, make sure it's good. And now I'm going back over and just like wiping anything extra. And then I decide to go back with my matte Mod Podge one more time to make sure it stays. And here is my sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just roughing up the flower sign. I am now taking this butcher paper that you can get from the Dollar Tree. It is on a roll. So someone asked me this once, where do you find that in the Dollar Tree? I find mine where the wrapping paper is. So not quite sure if it's the same at all stores. So I'm just cutting it up, and this is where I replace those small little circles with some bigger ones. And I definitely like these better. And I'm just going back over them with some Mod Podge to make sure they stay where they are. So now I am taking some beautiful flowers that I had got from Joann Fabrics when they were having a really awesome sale at the time, because remember, this is like from a year ago, and I just wrapped up those bunches of flowers, whatever I thought would look good together, and I kind of kept positioning them around until I got what I liked, and I wanted it to look almost like it was at a flower store and they were for sale, and I love how this turned out. Okay, DIY number 2, scale refresh. So this scale is actually from my dad. When we were moving my dad and mom into a 55 plus community, my dad gave this to me, and because I've always loved this scale, and he told me I could do whatever I wanted with it. So I carefully removed that glass because it was cracked, and now I am deciding what kind of paint I want to use. So I chose the Waverly Chalk Paint in Agave, and I gave it 2 good coats. Make sure if you do find one of these when you are taking off the front cover, or if you do take off the front cover, it was really difficult to put back on and line it up. So just keep that in mind. So I went through and gave everything a really good coat. So now I'm taking the Elephant Chalk Paint in Waverly. I wanted to paint the dial, like little handle, hand. What would you call that? The hand? Yeah. And I wanted to paint it a different color just because I thought the red was a little too much with the agave. And yeah, so I'm glad I did that. So I just put some paper behind it so that I wouldn't get it on the face of the scale. Now I'm just going right back over it, giving it another coat. I ended up going around the outer edge because the shiny of the brass kind of looked a little strange with the hand dial, but I did go back and take some of it off because I thought it looked a little flat. And now I'm going in with Waverly Chalk Paint in Elephant, the same that I put on the front of the scale. And I am just kind of touching up the edges, and this is the way I'm going to distress this piece. And I kind of, anywhere that I thought it might get a little roughed up, that's where I put this. And I used a very dry brush. I take most of it off. So you can see that I'm very lightly brushing it on, and I loved the way it turned out. It just added the perfect amount of distressing. So right on the top, I added a little more. It was a little beat up on the top, but I actually really liked it about that. I liked that about it, so I was okay with that. And then I went a little heavier handed wherever I thought that it could use it. So again, there's no rhyme or reason, just whatever looks good to your eye. Going right around the back of the scale face. And this pretty much is done. So I hope you like it. Okay, DIY number 3, Hello Wicker Mirror. So I got this wicker mirror from a yard sale, I believe. Yeah, I think it was like $1. And I am taking this deco paint from Joann's, and it was a beautiful color, but you know, it's hard for me to get in there and keep it as thick as I want. So I went back with the Waverly Chalk Paint and Truffle and kind of just went around right on top of that. And at first I thought I was going to keep it like this, but I do go back and add some more colors to that. I'm just using my Lucky Charms box to cover up the glass. And if you do get any paint on the glass, it just scrapes right off. These are lamb's ear from Walmart, and I just kind of put those in the corners, and I'm using this hard circle from one of those box frames from Dollar Tree. If you don't have that, you could just use whatever, just cut something into a circle. So I am using this what do you call that, the drawer covers, or I guess it's laminate. Yeah, so it's the wood grain from Dollar Tree, and I'm using my spray adhesive just to, because that's usually not that sticky. I put it on, and now I'm taking my Waverly Chalk Paint in white, and I'm putting it right over top just because that laminate is a little, you know, shiny. for my liking. So I kind of distressed it with the Waverly Chalk Paint in white, and then I just cut off any excess. So these are thickers from Walmart, and you get a whole bunch of them. This is only one side of the bunch you get, and I am taking my chalk paint in white and in truffle, which is like a dark brown, and I am just painting over hello because obviously I didn't want it pink. So I'm showing you the middle of it had like some of that circle had, I don't know, like divots in it from being on that box, and I didn't like that. So you could either use cardboard, which I showed there, or I'm showing you another way is to use jute, which I'm doing right now. And I just hot glue it and wrap it around a bunch of times. I'm putting another coat on that hello, making sure it's dry before you take it off. Now it was kind of sticking funny, but I was able to do it, and just use hot glue because that sticky might not hold very well. And there you go. I just put it right on the front. I take some more of that truffle that's on my brush, and it's hardly any, and I just quickly give it a dry brush, use some hot glue on the back to put it right on top of those lamb's ear. I kind of went underneath a little bit because it didn't feel as solid in place as I wanted it. And there you go. I think I added a few more of the lamb's ear, and just till it was perfect to my eye. And right here, I am giving it a good clean right on the glass. But I decided to go back with some of that Waverly Chalk Paint in white, just to kind of like, I don't know, distress it a little more. And here it is. And DIY number 4, wooden box. Now this one is really quick and really simple. So I found this wooden box at a yard sale for $1, and it had some, I don't know, wood glue in all those corners, and I just wanted to cover that up. So I took my Waverly Chalk Paint in white and a little bit of truffle. I lost that footage, I'm sorry, and I went back over, gave it a dry brush. I'm showing you some options on, those are from the Dollar Tree, but I end up using these Waverly adhesive stencils. I love these. You only get like 5 of them in the pack, but I use them all the time. So I am taking one of those the same wood pieces that you get on those Dollar Tree box frames, and I painted it truffle. I am now taking some Waverly Chalk Paint in white and stenciling on one of these, I don't know, I call them boho images, and I'm taking some hot glue, putting it right on the back, kind of measuring it out to keep it straight, and that is all. I went back in with some Waverly Chalk Paint in white just to kind of distress that little piece of wood, and this one was so simple, but I use this all, I still have this out. So yeah, I always know when I like something because I keep it out. So I hope you like this one too. Let's move on to DIY number 5, lidded tin. Now I did this in one of my Easter thrift uplift videos that I did recently, but I had to include it because I love this one. I got this tin from my local thrift shop for a couple dollars, and yeah, just cleaned it up with some wipes. I am taking off that wooded top so I can clean it out really well. And this one was a bit dirty. So I'm taking my Waverly Chalk Paint in white, and I'm giving this one good coat, and I do go back after it dries and I gave it another good coat, just so that yellow from the tin doesn't show through. So I'm roughing up the wooden top with some sandpaper. And this is where I kind of went wrong. I used my antique wax from Waverly Paint, and it kind of just sat on top. I did not rough it up enough for it to kind of absorb in the wood, but I did get it to work. I could have used my truffle Waverly Chalk Paint, which probably would have gave it the same effect, or roughed it up a little more with my sandpaper, but I got it to work. So I kind of went with the grain. On one side, the grain was going in one direction. On the other side, it was going another direction. I do like the dark wood. I think it looks really pretty. I'm putting the screws back in and just getting it ready to decorate. Now I kind of tighten the screws a little more than they were because I want the lid to be able to stay where I put it. See, like I can kind of hold it up. I just didn't want it to flop back down, so I made sure I put in the screws a little tight. Now I am using this ribbon that I got from Joann Fabrics during the holidays. I burn the edges and make them a little crispy so that they don't unravel, and it kind of just offers a seal. I have these greeneries from my globe flowers, and then I had this from, I believe that's from Hobby Lobby, and I just put that in with these green pieces, the greenery, and that's about it. Then I went back in with that same ribbon and I tied it around the center. You will see I take that little bow off the top because I do think it ends up being a little too much for me. Put some hot glue on the back, wrap it around the front, and tie a knot. I didn't like the 2 knots, so that's why I kind of took that off then. Cut the ends at a diagonal, burn the edges, and that is it for this one. But I think it's so cute. Really pretty. And you could put whatever you want in that tin depending on the season. Now we are moving on to DIY number 6, Market Tin Basket. Now I did this one in a recent thrift uplift as well, and this one was filthy. I got these 2 at the same time on the same trip to that thrift store, and there was like a, I don't know, it was kind of like a sticker, but it was clear on the front. I pulled off what I could. It took me forever and it was not easy. So this was sticking up. I decided to just rip it off, and it worked out fine. It didn't make anything fall apart, and it was fine. This is a little wooden plaque from the Dollar Tree, and I'm using my poster stickers and spelling out Market. Now, it does not fit perfectly, and I do end up cutting that T so that it fits. So I will show you right here how I do that. Just cut off the end, and it just has a shorter top and bottom, and it fit just fine. Now I am taking my garland, and this is from Hobby Lobby, and I love getting garland because I think it lasts longer and I think it's better bang for your buck. So I just cut off little sprigs and I just attach it to the top of the wooden sign. I do end up cutting off that piece of twine. I should have done it earlier, but I didn't. This is from a pair of pants that I didn't wear anymore. And I like to rip up fabric because I think it adds really cool effects to my craft pieces. So I am making this into a knot and cutting off any excess. And I will glue it right on top of those pieces of greenery, the boxwood greenery. Now I will get this ready to adhere to my tin. But before I do that, I am going to take this piece. I don't even know where I got this piece of burlap, but I've had it. Oh, I got this from Joann Fabrics. It was on a clearance rack, and I got it. It was just like a big piece of it, and I use it every so often. So I'm cutting it to make a ribbon out of it, and then kind of pulling off some extra pieces around the outside of the ribbon, the top and the bottom, so that it looks a little frayed. I hot glue it in the back and just kind of pull it taut and just kind of push it in place. And there you go. That's kind of what it looks like. And I'm taking this ribbon that I've had for a while, and this one, I get most of my ribbon at Hobby Lobby, and it was a little thick and I wanted to be able to see the black. So I cut it right on those lines, so it was really easy to cut and keep straight. And then I hot glued that right in the back, right on top of the burlap ribbon that I created. So it added like a double layer, and I really liked the way that looked. I added some hot glue on the back, and I just placed it straight right on the back of that tin. So at this point, I decided to add some more of those boxwoods just to kind of even it out. These are lavender picks from Walmart, and I just love their lavender there, and they're only 97 cents, so I think they're a really great deal. I take my floral foam, hot glue it a little bit so that it doesn't move around because it's not the perfect size, and I just put that right at the bottom of that tin. I will separate these. Now I do like to separate my florals and greenery just because I can place them where I want and I can give them a fuller look. And yeah, so I usually do take them apart. So I'm just putting them in till my eye is happy. And I used 3 bunches on this. I love this. So I go back with my moss from the Dollar Tree and kind of stick it in wherever I need. And that is all. Here's my Spanish moss. And I didn't even put it all throughout, just wherever you could maybe see some. And that's it. I hope you like this one. Okay, DIY number 7, clock refresh. I got this clock and I love this clock from a yard sale, and I loved it. The woman loved her clock, believe me. She was like telling me how to take care of it, and so pretty. But I wanted to add some Waverly Chalk Paint in plaster. Plaster's white, but it has, I don't know, I don't want to say a yellow tinge to it because I don't really think, maybe like if you add some mineral to your white, I think that's kind of just a tad bit of that mineral color to the white. That's kind of what plaster looks like to me. Here I'm trying to wet distress it. I think I put it on a little thick, so it wasn't working too well. So I went back with my sandpaper from the Dollar Tree, and that worked a whole lot better and a whole lot quicker. Right here I'm showing you how much that wet distressing took away. It did take away some, but it was taking me a little too long, so that's why I went back in, and it worked out perfectly for me in the end. I'm still trying though, as you can see. Don't give up, people. Unless you're distressing and it's not working, then you can give up. Okay, so now I go back here with my Dollar Tree sandpaper, and it is much easier, and I'm just kind of wherever I feel I want to go through and just take off some of that paint, mostly on the edges and a little bit in the front, wherever I felt like I wanted some. I didn't want to overly do it because yeah, I just liked it the way it was. Now I'm just giving it a good wipe with a damp towel to get any of that dust from the sandpaper off. I'm replacing the front, just sliding it right back in, and this one is done. I love this one. Okay, ready for number 8, coffee hook sign. I love this one. So I got this wood from Habitat for Humanity Restore for a couple dollars, and I'm giving it a good coat of the Waverly Wax, Antique Wax, and then I'm wiping off any excess. I'm taking these stencils and spelling out coffee beans just with a pencil. I'm writing those in. I am taking this paintbrush and I kind of cut it to an angle so that I got a good point, and just filled in those letters with the Waverly Chalk Paint in white. And I will go back and distress that. So here are some coffee labels that I just printed out on my computer. Just used some truffle, put it right on top to kind of age them. Wasn't sure which one I was going to use, but I didn't use either of those. I'm using this sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree, and I'm roughing up those letters, taking off some of that paint because I wanted it to look really old and distressed. And then I went back over with some Waverly Chalk Paint and truffle just to kind of, I don't know, darken it a little bit. I am using this little plaque I got from the Dollar Tree, reusing it because I used it in a previous DIY, putting on that label, and I'll get back to that later. So I use these curtain hooks as my hooks for the mugs to hold on to. So this is another piece of wood I got for $1, and I am hot gluing it and putting on some I don't know if it was E6000 or my Fix-All, but it doesn't matter because I didn't keep those anyway. So I put this right on top, and I do change that as well. I think I changed that little label like, I don't know, 10 times. So I'm using my Gorilla wood glue, putting the two pieces together of the boards, the 2x4s, and lining them up, and I will leave this to dry. So I put some heavy things on either side, and I will come back the next day and let that dry. I will take my heavy duty staple gun, and I love this thing, and I just put some staples right in the back along the sides, and as I'm doing that, you can see my hooks just cracking off. Here's my daily grind coffee. I will change it out and now put this one on. I'm dampening it a little bit because I think when you use Mod Podge, you get less wrinkles that way. And then I put some Mod Podge right on top. I'm using this scraper to take off any glue that I had on the previous hooks. I got these hooks from Walmart for a couple dollars. They weren't much, maybe like $5 or something like that for 6 of them. Now I'm using this cordless drill I got in this set from Walmart. I don't know, this was like $25, something like that, but I use it all the time. So I'm just screwing it in, and it was really easy. I went on the back to put some picture hangers, and I got this set off of Amazon. Again, that was really inexpensive, and I'm just nailing that in. I will take this hazelnut Waverly Chalk Paint, put it right on that sign just because I want to darken it up, and a little truffle. And after I distressed it, here it is. Love. And here's a little bonus box that I added in that vignette. I used one of those coffee labels with my spray adhesive, put it right on one of those hard pieces from the Dollar Tree shadow boxes, and I put it right on this wooden box that I got from a yard sale. Hot glued it right on and just basically Mod Podged it, wait till it dried, and then I went back over with some Waverly Chalk Paint, truffle, and just distressed it, and that is all. And I just put some coffee pods in there for like a coffee bar. All right, DIY number 9. We're almost there. Wooden stool. I got this for $4 at my Habitat for Humanity Restore, and I just wanted to freshen it up a bit. And so I take my antique wax from Waverly, and I just give those legs a good coat and just wiped off any excess. After I am done with that, I will go back in with some Waverly Chalk Paint in white because the stool was kind of yellowing a bit. So I went back in and roughed it up just so it would take that paint a little better. And I gave it 2 good coats. So I do have a question for you. Do you like when I make these types of compilation videos where I do the best of or the top 10 of a certain theme? So I like to know what you guys want to watch as well because you're the ones watching. So just let me know in the comments below. So I kind of marked my middle of the stool, and I'm using these same Waverly adhesive stencils, and I'm just putting one right in the middle, and I will take my Truffle Waverly Chalk Paint and dab off any excess, and I'm just kind of stippling it on right there in the center, and then I carefully pull it up. Okay, now I will take the next of these stencils, and this is kind of like a line, and I will put it at the top and the bottom of the stencil I already had put down, and just added that same Waverly Chalk Paint in Truffle. And I just love how it, like the adhesive part of it just helps keep it flat, and you don't have to hold it down with your hand, and I don't know, I just think you get a cleaner line. So I really do like these adhesive stencils, and I wish I could find more of these rather than just the plain stencils, and here it is. So if you've made it this far, thank you, because we are at DIY number 10, nautical rope frame. So I took some manila paper and I just put it through my printer and printed off a few pictures of some nautical scenes. They are kind of like drawings, and I really like the way they looked. And I used a little spray adhesive to adhere it to the cardboard that was already inside those frames. And now I'm using my mineral chalk paint in Waverly and just distressing it a bit. If I got too much on it, I would just wipe it away. Now I just placed it inside with the glass, and I will take the back of the frame and I am just putting it right inside of there, and I will just hot glue it in place. And that one's ready. So you can see I did all three. So I got this slatted sign from my thrift store, and I want to put on these picture frames. This is the back of it because I was trying to sand away the front and it was having some problems, so I decided to use the back. I'm using these popsicle sticks, gluing it right to the back of those frames so that I have more of an area to glue it to the frame. So that's why I did this, and I do that to all three. At first I'm going to put them straight across, and then I decide to kind of make them higher and lower. And now I'm getting out the netting. So I just want to show you can use Dollar Tree netting, but I tend to use the Dollar Tree, I don't even know what it's called. It's for Halloween time. It's like that creepy, I think it's called creepy cloth actually. And I love the way it looks because the holes are closer together. So it looks, I don't know, I like the way it looks because I think it looks very beachy. And so I tend to use the creepy cloth more than I do the netting. So I am just kind of draping it on and kind of seeing where I like it. And then I will cut it off any excess and just hot glue the back in place. Really no rhyme or reason to this. However I can get that thing adhered, I did. So here I am just cutting off any excess and just kind of folding it over and tucking it down. This creepy cloth can be difficult to work with. So yeah, so I'm using some Dollar Tree nautical rope. I made 2 ties at the ends, and now I will burn off any excess of that fuzz. And if you do not feel safe doing this, don't do it, but I enjoy it oh so much. So I will take some, I think it's the Fix-All glue. Yes, I believe so. Yes, the Fix-All glue from the Dollar Tree and some hot glue. And I will just put those right in place and make sure they are good and sturdy before I hang it up. I put something heavy on top just to kind of keep that overnight until it cures. And here it is.
So that's it. That's the end of my video. I hope you liked everything you saw here today, and I hope it inspires you to make something of your own. If you've not checked me out at Instagram over at Cat Luna Designs, I invite you to do so. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching. Bye! Check them out. If you might have seen some of them before, some of them may be new to you because I had... So some of them might be new to you, some of them. So this video is a compilation of some of my favorite thrift flips some of them may be new to you, some of them you've probably